Argo. Roger that, ground control. Tower, we are go for launch, over.
Good morning and thanks for joining us today. I'm joined by my guests from Agent Extra. We've got Jack Holman, Margot Lebourg, and Alex Vernon-Smith. How are we all doing?
Very good, thank you.
Nice to have you with us. Jack, you and I spoke probably about a year ago. For those people who aren't familiar with Agent Extra, what you offered back then was a superb outsourced prospecting service that would effectively pick over an agent's old market appraisals, try and sort of bring those back to life and shake up a few instructions. A lot's happened in the last year though, and you've really supercharged your service in terms of what you now offer. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the journey over the last year and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we started the business, it was purely an outbound calling service for estate agents. So some agents have been around for a long time. They have thousands of old contacts, old appointments, but not enough time or necessarily the want to, be on the phone all day looking for new business in their old leads. So that was one of our services, but we spoke to so many new agents who were coming through who didn't have old databases. So we got into generating new leads. And so we were talking to a lot of agents. We were generating a lot of leads through social media adverts and other digital ways like Google. And then we were also discovering that not all estate agents who we were generating these leads were always having the best success of turning these leads into actual appointments or even getting them on the phone. You might call them up once, they might not pick up. It might not get called again for any number of reasons. Everyone's really busy. So what we've done in the last year is sort of combine those two services where we take on the whole prospecting journey from lead generation through to nurture, through to conversion of that lead, where essentially all the agent has to worry about is arriving at the valuation on time and doing what they do.
I suppose that's the key at the moment. As we spoke back then, we were at a point in the market where there was huge demand, not a lot of supply of new instructions coming to the market. A year on, we're probably in the same position, if not a little bit worse in terms of things. When you talk to agents on a daily basis, as we do, the one message that they're all screaming about is lead gen. We need more leads. We need more leads. We need to get in and see more properties. So tell us a little bit about then how this process works, how the different services work together, and what an agent can expect to receive from you in terms of service when they come on board.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of moving parts to this. What another difference to us in the last year is we've got some great people working for us now, hence Margot and Alex being on the call. Margot is our digital ads expert. She runs all of our own marketing and all of our clients' marketing. Margot used to work at Facebook. She now works for us and has given us some real insights into the algorithm and different ways of marketing that I think can give ads the edge over your competitors. When you sign up to us, you essentially get full access to Margot and our other colleague Claire, who work for you. And gone are the days where you could put an advert online, spend £5 a day and see 100 leads come in just without much effort. Genuinely, a lot more goes into it than just that. And I think having someone like Margot working on your ads campaign makes a huge difference when it comes to results and making changes when they need to be made. On the other side, we've got Alex, who, and I'll let you guys talk for yourselves in a moment, but Alex comes from a really long estate agency background. I actually used to work with Alex in 2006, 2007 at Foxtons, where we worked in their client services team for about 6 years or so. Alex, I think you were there for 8 years in total, and now runs our call out team. So you get access to Margot, but you also have a dedicated consultant on our call team whose job it is to talk to the leads that are generated on your behalf. And we get to know our clients before we do this, and we'll nurture them until the point that they're ready to do something. I think in terms of the market at the moment, yeah, there is a severe lack of properties coming on the market, but to me, that means that data at the moment is key, because we call them leads, but at the end of the day, they're people, and they're people with different plans and ideas about moving. And at some point, the market will change back to a buyer's market. And when that happens, if you've got contact with thousands of new leads in your area who were maybe doing something, you know who they are, they're more likely to do it with you now than if you didn't have their contact details.
Superb. So Margot, I suppose a great question for you. I think the past couple of years has seen some real changes at online platforms such as Facebook, and they are always tinkering around with their algorithm in terms of what's allowed and what's not allowed, what ads get through the net and which don't. And I think it's been such a fast changing landscape for agents that they find it very difficult to keep up with it. So what in your mind is the key to sort of reaching that audience these days?
Yeah, indeed, Facebook did change a lot these past years. Mostly recently in 2022 because of lots of different things. So it's been really complicated for people to do their own ads. As you said, ads are being rejected, audiences are being, we have to create different kind of audience. You have to test a lot of things, analyze, and that's why we are here. We're here because we're updated. We are always doing this. I'm doing this every day, so I learn of my mistakes, and I try not to do a lot, and I don't do a lot. But I just we're here to help, and for people that really are a bit afraid of Facebook and social media and Instagram, because when you say social media ads, people mostly are a bit, oh, I don't know how to do it. I'm a bit afraid. I do have Facebook, but I don't know how it works. Don't worry, we'll just do it. We'll just do it for you. You don't even have to have a Facebook page. We can create it for you. You don't even have to have visuals. We create them for you. The wording as well. So just for people out there who wants to work with us, don't worry. We're here to do the job, and we'll just be communicating with you and trying to do what's best.
I think that's the key to it. I mean, Alex, you'll probably know from working at places like Foxtons. Foxtons are obviously very professional outfit in terms of, and very well known in terms of the sort of success that they've had. A very aggressive marketing machine as well in terms of how they approach their local market. But the role of an agent has changed quite a bit. We now have to wear so many different hats. We're expected to be expert agents in terms of getting our vendors the best price. We need to be marketeers. We need to know exactly how to run advertising campaigns. We need to have the time to be copywriters, to create video content, to create digital content. So these hats are constantly being juggled by an agent. And it's not like we have any more time than we did 10 years ago. In fact, the time pressures are probably even more severe today than they were then. So getting it right is key. And to me, it would feel like a weight off my mind if I were able to sort of hand it over to somebody to deal with it. So I think it's fair to say that the role of an agent has really changed quite a bit.
Yeah, I'd agree. The way I sort of look at it at the moment is, if you're an estate agent, you basically run, it's like a mini little business. You run your own little business. You've got lots of things to contend with. It's not sort of gone are the days and the times when you pop in at 9 o'clock and you just do as many viewings as you can, and you clock off at 6 o'clock and you've got a couple of deals. It's not really how it happens. You've obviously got to build your reputation. Everybody's pushing social media. A lot of agents, especially across London in particular, every single sort of quality agent individually has their own Instagram page where they're pushing different properties, or they're saying when they're free and you can book an appointment with them, whatever it may be. So there's a lot to contend with, and then that's sort of where we sort of find ourselves in the marketplace, and where we've sort of carved out a little digital marketing business, is the fact that if we can take one of those facets away from somebody's mindset every day, having to worry about their social media presence, or are they generating leads in a digital manner? We all live in the digital world now, as we know. If we can take that off their plate and give them a little bit more time to actually interact with their existing clients, by doing viewings or valuations or whatever it may be, then it's sort of one step forward for them, and that's sort of where our suite of services sort of lends itself in a nice manner. We can literally pick up, as Margot said, the baton of, even if you don't have a Facebook page, we can start by creating a Facebook page for you. We'll do the wording, the visuals, your whole marketing suite of services, all the way through to the point where you don't even need to speak to the potential vendor or landlord before we book in an appointment. The sort of first point you'll know about it from us generating that lead out of nothing is to the point where you're knocking on their front door. So I think that's sort of the important thing, is time is limited. So if you can outsource or delegate, essentially, all great leaders delegate in the best way possible. If you can sort of delegate that to us, then it's sort of one step in the right direction for growing a successful business.
And I think, thinking ahead, I think we'd be fools to think that this busy market that agents have had over the past couple of years will continue forever. If we do hit a more fallow period, then we're going to need to concentrate on the vendors we do have, and we need time in order to do it. So you can't balance that. I need new clients with servicing existing clients, and you need to show everybody as much love as possible. And I think that's an essential service, really, freeing up an agent to be able to give that extra customer care. There will be people that on the market that haven't sold, that need advice, maybe repositioning about pricing. They will need gentle persuasion, but also support in order to ensure that they don't just get itchy feet and decide to move elsewhere.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And as Jack mentioned at the beginning, we worked together, from 2006. We've sort of been intertwined with the property industry, of the property market. And the way it was, and anybody who was around at that time will remember, it was a lot more sort of a one-stop shop. You could call people, you could have a quick conversation, you could instruct their property all in the same day, and you're getting a great offer, a week later, and it's sort of done. And I think, you alluded to the fact that Foxtons was very aggressive in their marketing campaigns, etc., which they're sort of quite famous for.
Well, no,
and agreed. But the industry has changed, and we've all seen it change over the last 5, 6, 7 years, where that process, you can't be as aggressive anymore. Firstly, there's laws and things which have been brought in with GDPR, etc. But on top of that, I think the sort of public opinion on estate agents has slightly changed, where it's not just about an aggressive sale anymore. It's very much a nurturing process, and that takes time, as you quite rightly pointed out. Estate agents need as much time as possible to handhold their existing clients through processes, or through the point to getting to an instruction, and then you've got all the actual sales process, and then you've got the conveyancing process. So it's a very time intensive process, and anything, any great service that can give an estate agent back some time in their day, I think is valuable. Not just us, that's a really great solicitor, or lawyer, or suppliers, whatever it may be. So if you've got access to those services, and you get all your ducks in a row, then I think you're onto a winner.
I think that's spot on. I think that when agents look at the point of sale, if you're going to be one of those salesy agents, buy, sell, 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 that's quick. It's quick fire. You can get through a lot of volume. If you're going to be the kind of agent that's going to be around in 2022 and beyond, you now need to sort of change your tone of voice and move to a more helpful service where you truly want to understand the needs of the client, that there is no pressure. And like it or not, in order to provide that kind of service, which changes the people's impression of our industry and their point of view of the value that we add as agents, that takes time. It's an investment of time for the agent, and therefore leaves us time poor for essential marketing activities and the rest of that nurture process. So this is being launched now, which is very exciting, but you've been secretly testing it behind the scenes. So tell me a little bit about the results of what you see from testing it so far.
Yeah, so we have been trialing this out with some of our existing clients that were using us for one or the other services. The ones that we combined it with, I've got two very recent ones. Miller Metcalf is an agency in the Midlands. We were working with one of their branches. They let us pilot it out. They have been trying to run their own Facebook ads. They have been calling those leads and they just weren't getting the results that they thought warranted it. And they sort of called us up and said, look, we don't think you can do this, but you kind of say you can on your website. You know, is this something you can help us with? Last 3 months, we've generated 10 or more valuations for that branch just by generating leads. They were spending £10 a day on their ad spend, good to spend ad spend. We were handling the leads. I think we got 33 valuations in total over 3 months, just by doing this process, generating the leads, taking them into our sort of eco white label system for them, and then booking them in at the right times. More recently, we've been working with the Belvoir branch in Basingstoke. They only spent £5 a day in the last 30 days, and we booked 7 market appraisals for them. Again, it's the same process, but done well. It's generating the leads and then handling them.
And it's a great investment because it's a tremendously low cost for lead acquisition for booking an MA. I mean, that's an MA booked we're talking about. We're not just talking about cold leads that land in your inbox. You then have to spend hours, weeks, days trying to get through to somebody, form a relationship with them, convince them that you're worth seeing. That's all done for you. This is booked in the diary. Here you go out and see them. Yeah.
And another point as well, we didn't really get to it, is we will also work out of the agent's CRM. So, you know, any data that comes in goes into the CRM. Any valuations that get booked are booked through, you know, whatever it is system that they're using. So everything is done. It's essentially like hiring a member of staff. You know, it would be the same thing as that. It's just we do it. The costs are a lot lower, and we're dedicated. We're not sort of getting distracted by people walking in the office, etc.
And in terms of what the customers can expect, an estate agent's customer, this is an entirely white labeled service. So as far as the member of the public are concerned, they're still dealing with that agent. There's no sort of conflict there or split where they say, actually, you're going to go and deal with Jack. He belongs to a third party. They're being looked after within that ecosystem of the agent, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. It's completely white labeled. Any call that gets made is made on their behalf. And even if someone isn't ready to do something now, you know, again, this isn't a pressure situation at all. All we really try and get off a call, if possible, is just to get them to agree for a call back. Not everyone wants a valuation straight away. They've seen something online that we've put there and worded in a way that has made them interested in inquiring. Doesn't mean they want to sell tomorrow, and that's fine. You know, the questions we ask are things like, you know, why might you move? When might you move? Is it okay for me to stay in touch? Okay, you're looking to move in a couple of months. Is evaluation something you think would be useful? Right, let's get it booked in. But if not, it's a callback date for a future. It's a nice impression left, and a callback set.
So it is true nurture in every sense of the word. It's a gentle sales process. It's not hard sell. You're not going to ruin the reputation of your company by doing this. This is about booking that MA at the right time, as opposed to when it suits you. It's when it suits the customer.
Absolutely. And that's what the customer wants. You know, people don't want to be sold to. People can detect it as soon as someone calls up and tries to sell me something, even though I'm in the sort of sales industry, your walls go up straight away. People don't respond to it. And nurturing is a long game. You know, leads don't come on straight away. That's just how it is. And if you're able to put time and resources, whether you outsource it or do it yourself, you have to account for months of time before someone might turn into business. And that's fine as long as you're consistent with the efforts you're putting into it.
So I can see you've got a superb team that know what they're doing, and there's a lot of expertise here around the table. But I also understand that you're willing to almost put your money where your mouth is in terms of the this is a pay on success model, pretty much like agents operate. But you're willing to take that risk, if you like, that you know you're so confident in your service that you're pretty much sure that this works.
Very confident in it. You know, we have a lot of happy customers. We have some fantastic, genuinely really outstanding people who make these calls for us. And not to mention, you know, Margot and the digital team. So the way we charge for this is we charge £80 per valuation attended. It has to happen. You know, cancellations obviously don't count. So you have to go to the property. We charged usually a small retainer, £250 for the whole digital marketing aspect. But I'm sure you're going to ask me if there's a kerfuffle deal happening.
I can smell a kerfuffle deal
it's
somewhere.
coming. So for your first 3 months as a kerfuffle member, you will get that service at half price. So 125 a month for a full digital marketing package, plus the per valuation on top of that.
That sounds like a superb deal, and it's great that it's an entirely end-to-end process. It's almost and one of the things that you've stated, we always ask people to fill in these forms, and they come back with all sorts of weird and wonderful statements. But one of them that you've made here is that it could actually be cheaper than employing somebody to do this in-house. That seems to be the case, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to hire someone to just do this, I think you're spending it with anything between 18 and 22 basic. I don't know, but often what people do is they get a junior member of staff, a negotiator, who this isn't their job, it's just something they have to do as part of their main job.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is if you have a negotiator doing it, for instance, they're a commission-based person, you know, and calling up someone on the phone and expecting them to sort of have a really long nurturing kind of attitude towards them is, you know, if they don't want to do something now, then it's not really worth their time. That's in the nicest possible way. I would be the same if I was negotiating.
100%. I think that goes. It's one of those jobs as well that it's fair to say agents and negotiators don't love doing. You know, prospecting, playing the long game and waiting to reap those rewards. It takes dedication. You need that commitment, but you also need that consistency. You need somebody that's going to nurture that lead from cradle to grave and really not give up, but also know when to push and when to hold back. It's very nuanced, and I'm sure Alex, wearing his old sort of Vernon-Smith hat, will know that today, in terms of employment, trying to find the right people, it's a huge challenge. If you think it's hard to find instructions out there, try finding people to do these things in-house. It's extremely difficult, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, it's just everybody has a short-term sort of mindset, you know, especially estate agents. If it's not going to make you money now, then especially if you're a new negotiator, the sort of what's the value in doing it? So yeah, I certainly sort of want to hark back to Jack's point about the fact that the people who we got on the phone are people with sort of a long history in doing this. You know, these are people who have been firstly trained by Jack, myself, and Danny, but also they've got a background in doing this, and this is what, you know, we're dedicated to doing it. We're not looking further down the line at trying to you know, get a sale from this particular person. All we're doing is there to build relationships, and every good negotiator and every good agent knows that a pipeline is vital. You know, whether it's a pipeline of deals or whether it's a pipeline of potential vendors and landlords looking to do business in the next 6 months or a year. Every good business owner knows that you want to be looking, you know, 6 months, 2 years, 4 years ahead, whatever it may be. And that's exactly what we do. You know, we've got a specialized team which calls through your database, and you know, they have plenty of experience in making these phone calls, because we make them for lots of different companies all over the UK within the property industry, and we build a pipeline. You know, even if we're not going to get something out of it there and then, we should reschedule the lead, we create that pipeline, and we nurture it to the point where somebody is actually ready to do something, and then we book an evaluation. And you know, this is it's quite a skilled job. You know, it is sort of a fine line between, as you mentioned earlier, David, between pushing and not being too pushy, because you obviously, look, we all want to get the instruction. We know that. You know, we are salespeople at the end of the day, but there is a fine line between coming across as that the sort of pushy estate agent, where somebody's not really ready to do something, and sort of understanding when to push and when to hold back. So yeah, it's quite a skilled job.
I think the results speak for themselves, and the statistics that you've provided. I think the average was 22 valuations per client that you worked with last month, where you were following up the calls. I don't know of a single agent out there that would say no to 22 extra valuations. And just so we're absolutely clear, this doesn't replace your natural sort of ability to generate valuations yourself. So if that phone rings, you pick it up and you book it in. That's great. This is in addition to all of that, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It's extra. It's you book if you're booking 10 valuations a month, keep booking 10 valuations a month. We can come along and book another 10, then you've got it's just more, and that's what we're here to do. You can replace what you do with us, but wouldn't advise it. Keep doing what you're doing and get us to get you more.
So it sounds fantastic. I want to wish you luck with this new suite of services, because it sounds like the results are phenomenal and it's going to be extremely popular. Just take us through, Jack, very quickly what the onboarding process with you guys looks like. So if I was an agent watching this today and I decided I really like the look of this, and I want to work with these people, how quickly can I be behind the seat of a new Agent Extra?
Probably takes about a week to get fully set up. I mean, first things first, we get you introduced to Margot and Claire, who will get you set up on our with your digital side of this. And again, like Margot said, if you don't have a Facebook page, cool, we'll put it together for you. We'll get to know you. We'll get to figure out the kind of content that you want us to put out there. Following that, we'll get you introduced to Alex and the team member that we're looking to assign to you. You'll have one of our team dedicated to you. You won't get kind of moved around at all. Yeah, I mean, literally that. Within a week, we get to know you, and we're good to go.
Fantastic. Well, all your details are on kerfuffle.com, and anybody that gets in touch, and I'm no doubt we'll be speaking to a lot of agents about this, will be able to refer across, and you can be talking to Jack, Alex, and Margot in no time at all. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.